Okay, guys, it's Alex again. We're back. We're going to do another conversation, this time about more focused on mortgages. This one's coming from Life of Memories in American Hidden Past, American Past. I'm not familiar with the channel, but I really liked the title. Bank of Canada panics as mortgage debt hits record levels and prices collapsed. I literally just did another video talking about how illiquid the average Canadian is, and that being a large reason why we have so many issues with the economy. Our economy is focused on one particular industry and not really anything else, literally, and notably lacking in any sort of tech industry that has meaningful companies that can hire people, generate revenue, stuff like that. And myself, running an AI agency in Toronto, trying to help Canadians get up to speed with AI adoption, specifically businesses, so they can be a lot more efficient, save money, and inevitably hire people to do better quality work. That's our goal. But again, like if you're watching this and you're a Canadian, odds are you've been feared into hating AI, or thinking that AI is going to take your job, or AI is transforming the workplace. It's requiring everyone to sort of pull up their bootstraps and be better. So I really like it, and it's also allowed me personally to pay Canadians to do work. And so I'm never ever going to regret the decision getting into tech. In fact, I'm going to thank the people who literally had to drag me into this industry some 15 years ago, and I never looked back. So we're gonna take a look at what's going on with mortgage debt in Canada. You can see literally trillions of dollars worth, and see what kind of implications that has for our economy headed into the next couple decades here. Can I get a handle on this start button? Let's see.
2025. Canadian households owe a staggering 3.13 trillion Canadian dollars, and nearly 75% of it is mortgaged to collapsing real estate. The Bank of Canada is alarmed. Prices in cities like Hamilton are already down 5% this year, but that's just the headline. As debt concentrates and prices tumble, is Canada on the brink of a historic housing shock? Here's what the panic really
Yeah.
means. Canada's household debt has reached a level that even seasoned economists describe as staggering. According to Statistics Canada, by August 2025, households across the country owed a collective 3.13 trillion Canadian dollars. That's an increase of 4.45% in just 1 year, outpacing both wage growth and economic output. The scale is almost impossible to picture. Every Canadian, from newborns to retirees, now carries an average debt load that eclipses previous records. This surge isn't just a
Okay, I want you guys to take that in. He literally just said every Canadian, including children. Like if you're born in Canada, you're quite literally born into debt. Like either be it passed on to you by your parents, or you inevitably pick it up because you have to maintain a certain lifestyle. We are a debt ridden country. Everything is powered through debt, and this has caused us to get trapped in a position where our debt, our mortgage debt, because it's such a long um, amortization cycle for a mortgage, say 25 years, 30 years. I've been seeing some crazy 35, 40-year mortgages in Canada, something insane. But because these amortization periods are so long, that commitment to that amount of money, like that's like, just imagine a 40-year mortgage. That's more than the average person's lifespan, more than half of the average person's lifespan. So if we were to just quickly talk about that, if you're devoting more than half of your life, literally, because your income's not paying off the house in 2-3 years, it's going to take 40 years. If you're devoting half your life to one thing, and that one thing fails, effectively your financial life fails. So we're seeing a lot of people have to make hard decisions because they committed to such insane mortgages during 2020, 2021, 2022, when the market was peaking. And now obviously the fallout of the market, we're not going to see a recovery for quite some time, and even real estate people are having to admit that. And the reason why is because it's not having to do with market forces like supply and demand, or we were running up houses for people living. There's literally thousands of condos like literally right outside my window here in downtown Toronto that no one's living in them. No one wants to pay the rent for them. I like Angry Mortgage podcast guy. He calls them dog crate condos. No one wants to live in a dog crate, or at least pay $500,000 for a dog crate, because the odds of someone else wanting it after you and paying more is remarkably low. So we're in the down cycle of the marketplace, and usually in the down cycle in the marketplace, the downward pressure is slow to start. And I just compare this to like stocks and crypto. It's slow to start, so you have people like, I don't like this, I'm going to get out. I'm going to get out. And then you have the people who thought they were going to be in there for a long time. They start to see the values of their homes go down to the point where it gets to like a red zone or a red line. And as soon as that line is passed in terms of the amount that your house is worth, then you get what's called capitulation. And capitulation is when you have people who never thought they would be selling their homes for a loss, selling for a significant loss in order just to recoup the little bit of value that they have left. And when you see that in the market, when I see that in the marketplace, everyone's capitulating on a stock. Maybe the stock is oversold, or the people think the company is going to fail. That's that's generally when you see the buying happen. So until we have that capitulation event where people are just losing 40, 50, 60% on their house just because they need to pay and they can't get out of their mortgage or what have you, that's when you'll see the recovery happen. Hell, I'm waiting for that. I'm personally waiting for that event, just so I can get a very, very cheap condo or a very, very cheap house in Toronto because someone can't afford their mortgage. I'm like, literally, I'm waiting for that. Like, you're looking at the guy on the screen. He's like, oh, that guy's waiting for the market to capitulate so he can get in cheap. Yeah. And there's probably a lot of other people my age who've been saving up their bucks, or that are waiting for the capitulation event. And then you're going to have realists say, oh, you can't wait. What if the market rebounds? It's not going to rebound. It's not going to rebound until we see a monstrous capitulation. So if you're waiting for housing market to reset, like, you're going to see more downward pressure before you see anything going up.
Blip or a statistical oddity. It's the result of years of borrowing layered on top of each other, fueled by easy credit, surging home values, and a cultural belief that real estate is the safest bet. But the debt mountain keeps growing, even as the foundation beneath it starts to look less stable. The Bank of Canada and Statistics Canada both confirm that this is the highest level of household debt ever recorded in the country.
Wow.
The last time debt levels rose this quickly was during the late 2010s housing boom, but even then, the numbers never approached today's scale. With 3.13 trillion Canadian dollars now on the line, the consequences of any shock, whether it's job losses, higher interest rates, or falling home prices, are magnified. The entire economic system is more exposed than ever before, and with Canadians more indebted than at any other point in history, the margin for error has all but disappeared.
That's true.
Mortgage debt now towers over every other form of household borrowing in Canada. By August 2025,
After Dr. Sanjay Gupta taught me this honey trick, I recovered all my memories and got rid of early onset Alzheimer's.
Hey, okay. So 1 second, just to like, I usually like to weave AI into all my videos. This is an AI generated ad. And the average Canadian, they might not recognize that right off the bat, but you can tell something's AI generated when the person speaking does not in any way match the voice that's coming out of their mouth. Let's take a look.
Tomorrow, I would want all patients with memory lapses lasting more than 2
See
years
how
to
see
notice.
how that see that disconnection in the flow of what she's looking, or where she's looking, and her voice, it doesn't look like it's matching her mouth. This is an AI ad, guys. How do I know that? I work with AI every day. You'll get the work with AI. You'll be able to protect yourself from stuff like this. I mean, I don't know what they're selling. They might be selling something okay, but generally, when I see an ad like this, if they were really trying to get me, they'd either up the quality of their AI production, or they would just get real testimonials. But skipping.
Standing mortgage balances reached 2.33 trillion Canadian dollars, an all-time
2.33 trillion Canadian dollars. This person also might be pretty relaxed with their AI use. Come on, guys, we got to do better.
high. That's 74.5% of all household credit, a share that has never been higher in the country's history. In effect, nearly 3 out of every $4 Canadians owe is tied directly to real estate.
Wow.
Economists warn that this kind of concentration amplifies risk, not just for individual homeowners, but for the entire financial system. Benjamin Tal at CIBC puts it plainly: excessive mortgage exposure amplifies every downturn. The Bank of Canada echoes that concern. Their latest financial stability report highlights that more and more Canadians are stretching to buy homes, often with high loan-to-value ratios and debt service commitments that leave little room for error. When so much of the country's debt is anchored to housing, even a small drop in prices or a modest increase in rates can set off shockwaves.
See, that's what I was saying before. We have built our economy on a house of cards. Literally. If something happens to our housing market, the whole economy comes down, guys. Everything's tied to housing. And you know what the real ironic thing is? When we were having that crash, that credit crash in 2008, and the US was seeing their housing market collapse. I don't know if you guys remember, but Canada didn't really feel it. Like my parents certainly weren't talking about, a housing crash or having issues or anything like that. We just water off a duck's back for Canadians 2008 crisis. But that buildup and that lack of correction and that lack of moving around um, a liquid and repositioning debts with different players, different people, lesser prices, it did something to our country. It sort of made the valuations of houses float on nothing because we were being supported by the powers that be. Oh, no problem, everything's okay. Just keep buying houses, guys. Here's even lower. Here's even lower interest rates. Yeah, your credit looks fine. Just get more houses, guys. Just ramp up these values, because we got to make sure our economy keeps going. We really never felt, oh wow, pullback. Okay, we got to regroup and everything like that. So we were floating on a value or valuations that weren't real. They weren't rooted in actual market dynamics. They were rooted in, well, we got to keep all these house prices going up because that's literally all our economy is made of. And that's now led us down to the final level of it's over. The back of our economy is literally snapped because real estate is crumbling. And I gotta stress this again, guys. If you feel like you're in a bad position with your real estate and you don't see it out and you feel like you're gonna 25 years ahead of you of pain, cut the loss. You gotta cut your losses. Cut your losses, invest into something that's going to help you. Now, obviously, it's not financial advice. Invest in the U.S. stock market. You'll feel better, guys. You'll literally you'll watch your money go up, and you're like, oh great, I'm doing what all the other wealthy people in the world are doing, just buying these little ticker symbols on a screen and watching my money go up. Oh, maybe I'm renting. Okay, oh well, I can move whenever I want. I don't have a crushing mortgage that's attached to my name for the rest of my life. There's a different way to live, guys.
The warning signs are already visible. After peaking in February 2022, Canada's National Home Price Index fell by 15.6% by August of that year, the steepest correction on record.
Wow, holy.
For many, this was the first real test of just how exposed Canadian households have become. As prices slid, the value of home equity shrank, and the risks flagged by the central bank turned from theory into reality. The message from experts and policymakers is clear. When mortgage debt dominates, the entire economy is on a knife's edge. Hamilton's housing market tells a story of sharp reversal. In September 2025, the average home price in the city stood at $775,745, down about 5% from the previous year. But the pain runs deeper when measured against the peak. Since early 2022, real prices in Hamilton have tumbled between 29 and 40% depending on the neighborhood. Families who bought at the top now face the reality of shrinking equity and in some cases,
that guy is
homes
hilarious.
Worth less than their
if
equity.
You see him on YouTube, you gotta watch his videos, man. This guy rips Hamilton to shreds in terms of real estate. I might do a cover on him as well because he's telling you too straight. Like get out of the housing market. It's about to dump. And it's dumping right now. So I can't even disagree with this guy saying it. I mean, he's telling Canadians, get out of the housing market. It's dumping. Prices are dumping. And Canadians that are getting out are dumping the price. Like, it's gonna get wild, guys.
Equity, and in some cases, homes worth less than their mortgage balances. For many, this isn't just a paper loss, but it's a threat to financial security and future plans. In Vancouver, the affordability crisis has reached a breaking point. The typical monthly mortgage payment on a median-priced home now swallows roughly 87% of the city's median household income.
My God.
That leaves little room for anything else.
Give you context, 87% of income for someone living in Vancouver is going into their home. So if they made $10,000 in the month, $8,700 is going into their home. That is crazy, guys. That is absolutely unbelievable. I am, when the more I see and hear these horror stories, like, I kind of had a rough coming into adulthood, and my window for getting a mortgage was like closed, pretty much shut. Didn't really have a lot of savings, no job that was worth keeping or that wanted to keep me. So I never got into the housing market. I had to figure out other ways to, live, pay bills, get rent. At one point in time, I was nearly homeless. But, looking back now, and I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, I had it pretty rough, but I don't have it anywhere near as rough as some of the guys who started families. They have kids, they have a mortgage they have to pay, they had a wife. Like, those guys are having a rough time because their mortgage payments are going through the roof and they might not even have a job. Like, it's hard, guys. I think I bit the bullet early and then dodged the the missile. But if you're a Canadian and you're looking at your situation, biting the bullet earlier is better than biting it later. Crypto, you see your stuff going down and you don't want to take too big a loss, cut it, get out, go find something else. You got to learn to take your losses on the chin, keep on going, or else, because if you don't, you're going to be losing an arm and a leg.
Groceries, childcare, savings, or even basic emergencies. The numbers force hard choices. Some families take on roommates, others cut essentials or delay important purchases. Younger households, especially those aged 35 to 44, are carrying the heaviest burdens. Oh, yeah. Their average debt-to-income ratio is now estimated around 200%, far above.
Hey, I'm in Kramatorsk, in the Donetsk region,
eastern
Ukraine today. Attacks happen here every day.
National averages and previous generations. This level of leverage means even small changes in income or mortgage rates can push budgets past the breaking point. The weight of these numbers isn't abstract. It's measured in canceled vacations, postponed dreams, and mounting anxiety about what happens if the market slips further.
Yeah, so the vacations and guys, we gotta think about, you need a vacation every year. You don't need vacation here. You need to work for 4 or 5 years straight on the weekends too, and not take any vacations. Then you'll be okay. Like I personally, I'm trying to build a team up right now where I can have a nice long vacation and take a reset and take a look at my life, how far I've come, and see what I want to do next. Like, I'm personally evolving in my own situation, so I can afford to take a vacation. But if you're making your little 9 to 5, and you have a salary and you're barely keeping up with your mortgage, no vacation for you. You can't afford a vacation. You have to save your money. Let's get really serious. No vacation, no dinners, no nice clothes. Like, you have to make sacrifices, guys. If you're watching this, you don't like it, dislike the video, leave a comment.
Across regions and age groups, the pain is not distributed equally, but the sense of vulnerability is spreading. Inflation delivered a jolt in September 2025, catching policymakers and markets off guard. Statistics Canada reported the Consumer Price Index rose 2.4% year over year, higher than the expected 1.9%. Core inflation, which strips out volatile items, remained stubborn at 3.1 to 3.2%, well above the Bank of Canada's 2% target. The result was immediate. Financial markets slashed the odds of an October rate cut from 77% to just 69% overnight. For Canadian households already straining under record mortgage debt, this was a gut punch. The hope that rate relief was just around the corner faded as the data landed. Tiff Macklem, Governor of the Bank of Canada, acknowledged the dilemma in a press briefing. We're seeing persistent price pressures, especially in shelter and services.
The government is trying its absolute best to tell us how shit it is and how dangerously bad it is without telling us how they, we are seeing persistent price pressures, especially in shelter and services. Guys, shelter, food, water, shelter, basic needs for a human being. Basic. If our governor of the Bank of Canada is saying we're seeing pressures on one of your basic needs, there's a problem, guys.
We can't declare victory over inflation yet. Robert Hogue, senior economist at RBC, offered a stark assessment. Rate cuts won't instantly revive the market. The affordability crisis runs deeper. With inflation refusing to budge, the central bank faces a harsh reality. Lower rates would ease the pain for millions facing mortgage renewals, but cutting too soon risks reigniting price growth and eroding hard-won stability. The policy collision is unmistakable. Mortgage holders watch the numbers, waiting for relief that may not come in time. The Bank of Canada is boxed in, forced to choose between fighting inflation and offering a lifeline to over-leveraged households. For now, the numbers leave little room for comfort. A tidal wave of mortgage renewals is about to hit Canadian households. By the end of 2026, about 60% of all mortgages will come up for renewal, most of them locked in at the rock bottom rates of 2020 and 2021.
Yeah, this, like, next year, 2026, I mean, you guys are looking at, you can even see on my YouTube feed here, crisis, housing crisis, record mortgage. It's all, that's literally everything on YouTube right now. But in 2026, guys, this is nothing compared to what's happening next year, guys. We are going to see full-on families, husband, wife, children. They're going to be homeless. It's going to be depressing to see because it could have been prevented. We could have been more responsible when it came to giving out mortgages to people who should not have them. We could have been way more responsible with the 2008 financial crash, COVID, all these different things leading up to today. We could have been more responsible in this country. We didn't. We just wanted to send our housing prices to the moon, show the rest of the world we were great. Now the world's laughing at us. Pathetic.
The Bank of Canada warns that monthly payments for these borrowers are set to jump by 30 to 40%.
My gosh.
Even if rates hold steady.
Crippling.
For a typical family with a $500,000 mortgage, that could mean an extra $400 to $600 out of pocket each month. Arrears remain low for now. Just 0.23% of mortgages are behind on payments. But the sheer volume of renewals means even a small uptick could ripple through the economy. In living rooms across the country, families are checking their renewal letters, running the numbers, and wondering what they will have to give up next. Across Canada, the push to solve the housing crisis has taken many forms, but results remain uneven. In September 2025, housing starts surged to nearly 279,234 units nationwide, a 14% jump in just 1 month. Yet in British Columbia, new single-detached and multifamily projects actually declined, showing how local conditions can blunt national gains. Vancouver City Council has now opened up approximately 4,300 single-family lots in the Broadway and Arbutus corridors for higher density redevelopment. While this policy aims to unlock more multi-unit homes, high construction costs and market uncertainty are slowing the pace of actual building. The wealth gap grows wider. The top 20% of households now hold nearly 65% of net worth, while the bottom 40% share just over 3%.
So guys, it's so obvious, like, wealthy people, they're doing something that the average Canadian's not doing. The average Canadian is trying their best to get a down payment together, scrape together all their pennies, and give it to the bank to conscript themselves to a 25, 40-year mortgage. Wealthy people don't do that stuff, guys. Wealthy people build businesses, and then they buy stocks, and then watch their worlds explode with value. There's two different economies that are and I always used to imagine this when I was younger, but actually seeing it in real time is like crazy. I call it the Great Separation, where you have a literal fissure in the economy that's separating the haves and the have-nots. And it's really prevalent in a middle-class society like Canada, where, the middle class is crumbling. There's going to be a few people from the middle class who get savvy and rise to the upper class, and the rest of the people are literally going to fall to poverty. And in Canada, because so many people are considered middle class because they own a home and on paper they have like equity, a lot of these people are literally going to lose their homes, guys. And they're going to be stuck with debts that they can't pay because maybe they lost their job, or they're scrambling to find another house or another home, and then they have mortgage problems, credit problems. Like it's going to be a mess, guys. And the top 20% are laughing because do you think the top 20% are buying more homes? They're buying stocks, stock market, technology. They're investing in businesses that make money, cash flow, income. They're not doing anything regular people are doing, like putting all their money into their mortgage. Just imagine 87% of their money is going into a mortgage if you're in the lower class in Vancouver. 87%, guys. Drop the mortgage stuff. Get a cheap rent. Buy some stocks. Not financial advice, but do it. Because this mortgage stuff doesn't work anymore.
65% of net worth, while the bottom 40% share just over 3%.
That's an
Looking ahead,
number.
Analysts forecast national home prices could fall another 1.5 to 3% in 2025. Unlike the United States, where most homeowners lock in 30-year fixed mortgages, Canadians face frequent renewals, leaving them more exposed to every policy shift and market downturn. In August 2025, Statistics Canada reported household debt at a record $3.13 trillion, with 74.5% of that tied directly to mortgages. Over the past 3 years, average home prices have dropped from their 2022 peak, while debt-to-income ratios for many families have climbed to historic highs.
Insane. So
the Bank of
chart,
Canada warns
I love the X chart. The X charts, they show disconnection. So the prices of homes are falling. That's the blue line. The prices of homes are falling. Meanwhile, the rate to which you earn money versus how much you owe, or the rate to which how much you owe versus what you earn, is increasing. So you're owing more and more and more based on how much you can make. So your debt to income ratio increases as time passes. Meanwhile, your house value is going down. That's what you call a broken market. That marketplace is broken. And it's going to keep separating in a way where some of these people who bought their houses up here and are watching it go down there are watching their debt increase, but their income's not going up. So they have to let it go. They have to cut their losses. And that's usually going to mean, being underwater, 50, 60, 100, 200K, however much they took a loss on, and have no home. They're literally going to have no home and still have to pay out the mortgage. That's never happened in Canada, guys. We've never had a situation like it is now today in our history.
The Bank of Canada warns that high loan-to-value and debt service ratios leave households, especially those with upcoming mortgage renewals, vulnerable to further rate changes and price declines. Despite efforts like rezoning and increased housing starts, affordability remains out of reach in cities like Vancouver, where mortgage payments now consume nearly 87% of median incomes. Key uncertainties persist: how many households will fall into arrears, and whether policy changes can restore stability without triggering deeper losses.
So, I mean, it's funny. While watching this video, I don't even know if this guy's Canadian. Let's just take a look. Life of Memories and American Hidden Past. What collaborators? Okay, so Life of Memories, they're Canadian. I'm going to subscribe to them. And
if you are sleeping in a
let's see the other guys. American Hidden Past. I'll just keep with the other one. But
August 2025.
We're literally seeing the housing market unravel because there's nothing there to keep it up. There's no other industry or economy we can leverage. And Canadians are really feeling it. And if you're a Canadian, you're watching this, you're like, well, why the hell is this AI guy talking about houses, real estate, all this stuff? First of all, I'm just going to ride the wave of anything that's a hype right now. Like let's get serious. Our team wants to get clicks and views and all sorts of subscribers. So we're going to talk about whatever people are talking about. Second of all, AI goes into everything. So the reason why I like to talk about real estate is because real estate is such a monstrous marketplace in Canada. It's literally pushed out any opportunity for any other industry or economy to evolve or marketplace to evolve to the point where we have nothing but real estate. And it's funny to me because the amount of Canadians that need tech for their business, tech for their lives, or just being involved in tech in a way that's meaningful where they can invest and make money. We just don't do it in this country. So watching all these Canadians like put their whole lives into the real estate and then watching the real estate market go down, it's like, yeah, you bought a meme coin. Your house is a literal meme. It's getting dumped. It's like the market's dumping right now. Canadian housing market is like a meme coin, a shit coin. So watching this happen, it's like, well, how do you help? How can you sort of make it easier for Canadians? Go to ChatGPT, guys. ChatGPT.com. Start asking it questions about your life, or even better, hit the dictate button and say something like, um, I'm in the middle of a crisis right now. My mortgage is getting renewed. I don't know if I'm going to have my job in the upcoming months. I have a family to take care of. What are some things I should consider seriously? How can I make more money? Should I keep my home? Trauma dump your whole life in ChatGPT. I guarantee you're going to get better advice from an AI than you would from the random schmo who lives next door, whose house is also plummeting in value. Like we really need to try and break free of this real estate only mentality and try and look at other areas of the world, literally the world, where we can start to make money, start to provide value, create value, and get paid for it. Like that's how I had to do in Canada. I never got onto the housing ladder because I was not in a position to. And now looking back, I'm like, thank God I was in a position to. I'm in a position to now, but I don't want to. And that's another messed up thing. It's like the sentiment of me wanting to get into the housing market. I have the means to. I just don't want to. I literally don't want to because it's not a good a financial or logical investment. I'm more than capable of making more money and building up my net worth through other means. Don't need a house. Now, I for sure want to have a family at some point, but that means I need to build up enough where I can just buy the house, family go in the house, not having to worry about a mortgage or me losing my house because I can't make my payments. So we really have to look at, how we're approaching these like milestone events, our life, our economy, all this stuff in a different way, because the way we've been doing it in Canada doesn't work, guys. And I can tell you right now, if more of us picked up AI, asked it meaningful questions, and tried to go for meaningful answers and not just get afraid of the first thing the AI says, but really dig into it, we'd have a better economy, a better country, more productive. Anyways, we're past 32 minutes now. This is my last video for the day. I'm going to go feast on some food that I cooked myself. The one thing you're going to have to learn how to do if you're eating out too much. But guys, if you liked what you're hearing here, you liked the discussion, this type of conversation, hit like and subscribe. If you don't like it, you don't like me, you think I'm an asshole, you think I'm ugly, hit dislike, leave the comments. We're going to do a good video at the end of the year, round up all the comments from you guys. It's really fun. I had so many mean comments here. It's insane. Like, I'm just like, holy shit, everyone online's so mean. But it's really fun. Like I get to see what Canadians think about my thoughts in all different perspectives, and I really do appreciate the engagement you're giving us, because it gives my guys the opportunity to get more jobs, more opportunities when people see us online. And so I really got to thank you guys, whether it's the hate or the love. We want it all from you. Till next time, bye now.